Once we enter the floating pass, we're trying to work one side to the other, looking for an opportunity to break through our opponent's guard, either to pass to side or to mount. And trying to put his knees together if possible, if not, sprawling, kicking our leg out. But sometimes our opponent is very good at staying with us. Okay, so I walk one way, he stays with me. I walk the other way, he stays with me. This becomes a difficult circumstance because I can't cut the corner to either side. It's very hard for me to make an angle. So in this situation, I'm going to put more pressure with my hips, even more pressure with my head and shoulder, and I'm going to look to crawl right up to mount. So in this position, although I'm having trouble finding an angle one side or the other, I see that there's some space behind his knee. Now I'm going to drop my hip slightly and use this hook to replace the control of my hand. Now, it's going to be hard sometimes for me to fight this underhook, so now I'm going to come up for head control, putting the tips of my fingers into my opponent's armpit, and now walking him to the far side, posting, head on the mat, hips strongly engaged forward. Now I just push the knee down, step to mount. So again, the floating passes really work because we isolate our opponent's upper body. We're pinning his head and shoulders, so it takes away his hip mobility. We're also on top. We have gravity in our favor, and our hips, it's kind of our hips and legs against his hips and legs, but we're in a much more advantageous position than our opponent. So we're more mobile. We don't have to worry about friction on the ground. We have some pressure on us too. So in this position, as I'm trying to walk one, kick, step to the side, break, none of this is working. So instead I drive, and I connect with this hook. Okay? Again, just like the previous techniques of crawling, I can also lock this down. Now I control the head, detail, fingertips into my opponent's armpit, and I really want him to feel this. So I'm going to back up, making sure I connect his chin with my shoulder, and drive my shoulder to my palm, hips in, and I'm just going to walk him to the side, head to the mat, post, push his knee so it touches the mat, slide to mount, control. So again, from a different angle. We seal off that space ear to ear with our opponent, using our head and shoulder to block out his head. Okay? Dominating with the underhook, keeping our weight to control his hook, and we see an opportunity now to get straight up his body. We lead with our hips, pressure, replace our hand controlling the knee with this hook, and driving our hips forward. Now we're going to control, walk him out to the side, crawl to mount. Back straight, ear to ear. Again, we have much better mobility than our opponent in this position, locking his shoulders to the mat, keeping his head away from the angle of his hips. And now we can connect with this hook. And again, sometimes if we need to, we can lock that down, or just use this hook. Switching to head control, bringing our shoulder to our palm, and walking our opponent again to the side. Notice our head switches sides to keep him locked out, locked away from the angle of his hip, pushing his knee flat to the mat. We slide into the mount position, locking and controlling.